So web filtering is probably one of the more popular pfSense features people have been asking me for. Now, I have a couple opinions on this. So you can do different web filtering with different proxies. The problem is most sites are moving to SSL or have moved to SSL, especially all the major sites. And the problem with SSL is you can't see inside the traffic, so the filtering is not as easy to do. The way I recommend around this is with DNS filtering, and maybe I'll do a different video about how you can just block certain websites, but of course that's really challenging to maintain. So there's third-party companies, for example, OpenDNS, which is part of the umbrella service, I believe is owned by Cisco, and you can use their DNS and you can do DNS level filtering, and that's kind of cool. But this company caught my eye. They're called DNSthingy. And it's kind of a consumer service, but it's reasonably priced, and we're going to go over how it works with pfSense. I'm really impressed with how well it works. So I had set this up and did some testing at home with it, so I have it registered my personal email. I didn't reach out to the company. I'm not a paid endorsement at all for this. I just kind of thought it was novel and the way it worked, and the fact that DNS and a few other routers are supported. Specifically, I'm going to be covering how you load it on pfSense. So I'm going to show you how to load it, how to set it up, and how it works. So let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is get DNSthingy. Their price is $7.99 a month. Your first 30 days are free. A supported router is required. So they have ClearOS, which I haven't used. They have a list of ASUS ones that are in here, which are pretty cool. So if you have one of these model ASUS ones, it's, I believe, a replacement firmware is what they do with those. But with pfSense, choose pfSense 2.3 and get installation package. Nice thing is they made it really, really easy to cut and paste this in. So we're going to go ahead and just copy and paste this. Normally I recommend typing in commands, but I'm lazy and we're just going to do this. That's a whole nother topic, but generally you should type in commands instead of doing it this way. So we're just going to get this right here, copy SSH into our pfSense. Hopefully you know how to do that. We're going to paste it in. Done. Now that part's pretty simple. All this does was add DNSthingy package to pfSense package list. So we're going to go ahead and we can log out now. So once the package is added, we go over here and we're going to log into pfSense now. All right, now one thing about this is, now that we've done this, step 2 in the installation is updating it and changing a couple things in here. We have to go to the package manager. That's not a problem. Before we can enable it, if you notice down here what they're telling us, it's kind of weird, but DNSthingy runs as a service on your pfSense box, which means it wants to run on 443. So you have to change your pfSense box to be on something other than 443 for administration. So we went over here, TCP part, and they suggest 20443s. We use whatever you want, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead and change this over. Hit save. All right. Now we've changed the admin port to 20443. And like I said, that's an important step on here to make sure that you do that. So now we're going to go ahead. Let's get some out-of-date packages. We're going to go to available packages. And we can scroll down here or we can filter for it. So we'll just type in DNS. There's DNSthingy. We just run the installer. Confirm. And it installs like any other package in pfSense. It's done installing. We go over here to DNSthingy. Go ahead and enable it. Leave it on all the network interfaces unless you have some custom thing you wanted to do. And we're going to save it. Apply the changes. Now we got to get our box ID. Now this is what connects it to your account. So here's the box ID. So we're going to copy this. Then we go over to DNSthingy and you go to the section that says router. Once you're logged in, box ID, paste it in and hit add. And it shows up here. Box is not online. It takes a second to synchronize. All right, now it's updated and refreshed. So one of the things to notice is because this is on our internal network for testing, it does notice that we're double natted, but it doesn't matter because it's going to start logging things on my side here. Now I'm the only computer on this because this runs in my own little lockdown virtual network, but at least we can start taking a look at things. So The rule sets are pretty much at default, which is block adult content, identity theft, better safe than sorry, block risk of domains and block high risk top level domains, block behavioral profiling, content marketers, third party advertisers. Now, I haven't played much with this, but they have a virtual relocation rule set, and that's so you can get around restrictions, maybe country restrictions on viewing content, which some websites do that. Like if you're outside the U.S., you can't view certain things because of other kinds of rules. I don't know what exactly magic they're doing for this, and I don't have any comparison whether or not it really works, but make streaming and downloads fast, and force YouTube safe mode and force search engine safe mode. Now, this is kind of interesting. Again, I won't go for all the adult testing that I did on it, but yes, if you try to type in certain phrases, they just don't show up in there because it forces safe search on every time because it's a DNS redirect to the safe search one. Thought that was kind of neat that it does that, and definitely kind of cool. So now that we've got this enabled, I'm going to open up some stuff on another side over here so we can get some data into this. All right, now from the pfSense box, you have the link to dashboard.DNSthingy, which is your dashboard, which we were at here, and then the other link down here was mytools.management. And this is the logging. Well, I'm not actually allowed to view the logs, and I'll show you how that works. So the logs are actually local. You can't view them outside your network, which I thought was kind of strange. It's actually wrapping things around into there. So we go over here to devices, and we have to find my device and add it to the list. Now, because I had this at my house, it has all the different computers that were at my house on here. So we're actually going to find my computer in the list here. So now that we found my computer in here, which I had to expand out the details so I could find the IP address of my computer, and we're going to go to Edit, and we're going to say View All Logs. Now, by default, you can't view your logs until you add yourself to the ability to view the logs, which I thought was just kind of strange, but that's how they have it set up. So you have to find your computer, add the ability to view logs, even though the logs are internal, and you can do the who am I to find the logs. This is under the mytools.management, and we go over to domain log and refresh it, and now you can see everywhere that my computer is going. So it's kind of a strange way they look. And like I said, mytools.management is being redirected and filtered. This doesn't work outside your network, so you can't view it, which is kind of weird. Is that when I first tried to demo this, I thought I was going to be able to demo by setting up at my house and then testing it here at the office. But as it turns out, the logs are apparently kept local. So they're doing some kind of DNS masking to make it look like they're logging all this, but these logs are actually being stored within your computer. So I think that's kind of neat the way they're doing it that way. But at least you can start following everywhere I'm going. Now by doing this, and let me see if I can find something to make it block. All right, and I went ahead and chose Pornhub because why not? And this is what actually comes up on the page. DNSthingy blocks it, blocked by block ads, DNSthingy, this is what comes up. So if you want to use this to filter bad sites such as Pornhub, them just being popular, I figured I'd use them, but you can see how it does. Now, something else I find interesting is just watching all the DNS lookups that my system looks for and some of the other things that it does fail on. So last resolver, this, and this, and blocked content. So it's kind of interesting. You're watching all the patterns of everything that it's doing. So kind of neat the way it works, and you can go through later and examine each one, see it'll log which IP is doing it. I'm the only IP on here, but I've tested this at home. It shows all the IPs and all the devices that are in the system, and the DNSthingy page is redirected to internally, which is the router. So there's also more levels of logging that you can do, which is kind of neat. They got a couple other custom options. I don't know what they all are. I haven't read through all the details on that. I just wanted to get you started with this tool. It's pretty neat. It works well. I tried it for just about the whole 30-day trial at my house, and it's a really simple system. You can also manage unblocking things in here, so you can do custom blocking. You can, for your devices in the list that we have under block the bad, let me expand all the details again so I can find my computer in here. But you you can change it to say unfiltered, no internet, which is also really neat. Allow only the good. So you can get really restricted down filters, or you can say this computer doesn't get to have the internet, and you can just block it on there. Same with the logging, whether or not it can view the logs. It's pretty neat, especially if you've got kids or little ones that you go, you know what, I think I want to filter the internet for them, and I want to have control over that, or just keep a log of where they're going. Definitely something you can do here. So they're actually kind of supporting using OpenDNS in the back end. So there, they also have some whitelisting options. They have an option to customize it. So if you want to add a custom page into your company or home to, say, hey, talk to dad if you've seen this, or dad's watching you, or mom, you can make some fun things like that. But this is a pretty simple system. It's only $8 a month. I think that's $7.99 a month. I don't think that's horrible for DNS filtering. And the nice thing about DNS filtering is that it's a great way to do it. If you're doing it with setting up a bunch of certificates and trust between devices, well, the first shortcoming you're going to notice is if you have some IoT devices that you may want to lock down, that becomes more difficult because they don't accept the filtering of, or adding a certificate to them. They can only be filtered and locked down via DNS and things like that. This will give you that option so you can find all the devices on your network and see where they're going and check logs on them. And one of the things you may notice here too, let me go back to my devices. When you're looking at the whole device list, it even has all the phones, Emily's phone. This is my daughter's friends coming over and things like that. So anything that jumps on my network, I can control on there. We had the Steam link and Sean's phone because Sean was over. So it's kind of interesting to see all the places on there. But if you want to lock down a device that gets on your network and say no internet, that's actually an option. So you could actually say, you know what, I don't want them to get internet, but I need them to connect to the network for something. Go ahead and check it out. It's a great way to do filtering. It's reasonably priced and seems to work really well. I didn't see any easy way around it. Even changing my DNS, I believe it does all the DNS blocking. Yep, it does. Even if you change the DNS on your computer, DNSthingy, when it installs in pfSense, doesn't allow it, redirects even when you change to another DNS. So it does kind of lock down the system. It's doing this all automatically on there, so it's setting up the interfaces and everything. I don't even think it creates any type of firewall rules. Oh, okay. Well, actually it does. Right here's the LAN rules. So it forces DNSthingy reject 443 for ad blocks. DNSthingy prevent IPv6 bypass. So yep, they are creating rules at the same time that stop things, stop you from going around the DNS essentially. So like I said, real impressed with it. It's good software. It seems to work well. I didn't really find any issues with it. It loads right in a pfSense. Like I said, it's great. So if you like the content here, like and subscribe. If you're interested in DNSthingy, it's DNSthingy.com. There's not sponsored, so I got no offer codes or anything to hook you up with on it. But try it out. Check them out. If you like it, let me know. If you have comments or another software you want me to review like this that works with pfSense, I'm interested. Thanks.